Coen, and I'm the Career and Skills Consultant for the College of Arts and Humanities, based in the UCD Career Development Centre. So I hope you're all enjoying our open evening so far. So I'd like to take the next few minutes to talk to you a little bit about the range of resources and supports and initiatives that we have in place for arts and humanities students while they're in UCD. And then I'll introduce you to some of our alumni. So you have Anna, Sarah and Evan, who very kindly come back on campus this evening to share their career stories to date and tell us a little bit about how they've applied the skills that they gained in their arts and humanities degree to their chosen careers right now. So you may have had an opportunity to see our wall of fame across the hall. So lots and lots of faces that don't need any introduction from me are graduates from arts and humanities that have blazed a trail in their chosen profession. And you'll find arts and humanities graduates in a range of functions, in a range of organisations across so many different sectors. And it's really true that your arts and humanities degree can take you anywhere in a variety of careers, from banking and finance to media, television, radio, right across communications and marketing. And that's really, really exciting that there's so many different opportunities, but it can also be a little bit daunting, especially when there's just so much choice. And that's why I work very closely with the College of Humanities, College of Arts and Humanities, to ensure that there are supports in place to ensure that you can realise your career potential and achieve your career goals. So in first year, when I meet students in the Career Development Centre, we're really talking to them about exploring all the great opportunities that are available in a university the size of UCD. And so we're encouraging our first years to get involved in university life, so life outside the library. And it's a great opportunity to gain skills and gain experiences that can help you build your strengths, get to know your preferences, your values, and that's a really important part of figuring out what it is you'd like to do. So you might decide to take up beginner's Russian, you might decide to join a society and take up a committee membership role. You might decide to volunteer in UCD or in your local community. And as I said, a great way to develop skills and learn new experiences. In second year then, building on some of the experiences you've had in first year, there's two really great initiatives in place. So one of my favourite is the Career Mentoring Programme. So you might have heard some of our current students talking about the Peer Mentoring Programme, but this is a little bit different. This is the Career Mentoring Programme. And we have lots of graduates of UCD who want to give back to the university. And one of the ways they do this is by acting as a mentor to a current student. And this is a programme that's in place for arts and humanities students. In stage 2, so in the second semester of year 2, you have an opportunity to meet with a mentor in a career area that you're interested in, and you can meet them on a one-to-one basis for 3 times and talk to them a little bit about what it's like to work in a particular career area that you're interested in. So for example, if you were interested in journalism, we'd match you with somebody who's working in that sector, and you can chat to them about what are the skills required for that role, what are the internship, what are the career opportunities in that space. And as I said, a great way to learn a little bit more about that sector. We also then have a career readiness module. So this is an elective that you can take in your second year, and it's a 12-week career development module. So 2 hours each week where you have space to come and think a little bit about your own career action plan. So I'll be taking you through lots of different modules around planning and starting to think about what are the careers that you'd like to pursue and what are the skills that you need in those areas, and starting to action a career plan. In third year then, I know Fionnuala touched on this, but I just want to talk about it for a few minutes in relation to your career. We have the opportunity in third year to either take a professional internship, so start to apply the great skills that you've been building in your degree in first and second year and apply those in a professional setting. And a really great way to figure out if a particular career is for you or not, and a great chance to get some valuable work experience on your CV as well. Or you may decide that you'd like to take a year abroad or a semester abroad, and from a career point of view, this is a really great opportunity, because employers love to see where you've shown initiative and got outside your comfort zone, and adjusting to a new country, a new education system, and a new university and a new learning environment is a really great example of doing that. So these are two great initiatives that really help you to stand out from an employer perspective. In fourth year then, we really start to look at preparing you for either postgraduate study or graduate roles. So there's a number of workshops in semester one around preparing for, as I said, either your postgraduate applications, so your personal statement and your application, or your graduate CV, so that marketing tool about you that's going to get you to interview stage. We also do workshops on preparing for interview and the recruitment process, and then a number of workshops on marketing yourself on social media and your LinkedIn profile as well. So throughout your final year, there's a number of employer events as well to, I suppose, introduce you to the variety of graduate development programs and graduate opportunities that are available to you as well. So lots of employer presentations on campus where employers come to promote their roles. And we also have introduced a new initiative where we invite alumni to come back on campus and share their career stories. So we host a number of alumni panel events throughout the semester, and a great opportunity for students to see just the array and variety of career opportunities available to arts and humanities students. So I guess I just wanted to give you a sense of the type of initiatives and resources and supports that you can expect when you come to UCD to study arts and humanities. So I suppose lots of assistance there to help you realise your career goals. What I'd like to do now is invite our alumni to come onto the floor and to tell us a little bit about their career experience to date. So first of all, we have Anna. Anna is a BA in Arts and English and Film Studies graduate, and she's going to tell us a little bit about her career story to date.
So I'm Anna. I just graduated from UCD. I did a BA International in English and Film, so I spent 3 years here and 1 year in the University of Amsterdam. I'm now a freelance journalist. I work primarily with the Irish Times, but I've done a few other things. So I suppose, what was my first impression of UCD when I was where you are right now? So UCD is huge. So are its arts courses, which is why a lot of students end up in societies, which are basically groups of students with niche interests, from debating to Harry Potter enthusiasts. And from there, I joined the Students' Union and the LMH, which is our debating society. And I got that multicultural group of friends you see on the prospectus on some sprawling green grass, which is probably now a car park. So basically in second year, I became a gender equality officer in UCD. So I set up self-defense workshops for students. I conversed with them over email or in person, and primarily I ran a campaign highlighting sexual assault. This was before Me Too, but it was clearly that this was a major issue that was unfortunately rampant across college campuses and everywhere else. So basically we banded together some students and we sat down and we made posters detailing people's experiences of sexual assault. It was a very powerful campaign and we posted them all over our campus to fantastic results from people. So after that, a colleague of mine in the union saw that how enraged I was by this issue and passionate about it and said, look, you're an English student, why don't you do something about this? So I wrote an op-ed, and quite brashly and probably presumptuously, I sent it to the Irish Times. And within a few days, by some divine intervention, they decided to publish it. The piece ended up being the most read piece online that day, and even fostered a Reddit page, which was the highlight of my career, though not very complimentary. And after that, I ended up doing, I think, 2 more freelance pieces with the Times whilst in UCD, and I went to work in their features department after I graduated a few months ago for 3 months. So I categorically would not have found journalism without UCD. My work on the Union and that piece, from meeting people afterwards in nightclub bathrooms to DMing me on social media, showed me that something that I was doing could have even just a tiny impact on other people's lives, and I was hooked. So after that experience, I kind of had enough confidence to do anything, and I applied successfully to work in an editorial placement in British Vogue. Most people ask me, is it anything like the Devil Wears Prada? And thankfully, it is not. I assisted editors on pieces. I liaised with major designers. I did everything under the sun. I also got a lot of green juices, because sadly, some cliches are true. And after that, I came back to Ireland. And I just came back from a press trip with the Irish Times, which was incredible. And a lot of parents in the room won't thank me for this. But the thing about an arts course is you don't always have job security all the time. But like any good relationship, be it professional or romantic, you never get bored, which is what I wanted from my degree. So after that quite self-indulgent spiel, and for the purpose of transparency, I have to say that when I arrived in UCD, I was probably the least confident writer you could meet. Odd thing for a journalist to say. I'm dyslexic, so when you tell people you're dyslexic and you want to do an English degree, it does sound like a bad life decision. But from the amazing Access Centre we have in UCD, which helps students with learning difficulties and disabilities, to the Writer Centre, which Dr. Delan, who was just speaking to you, is hugely influential, and because of her we have it, to the amazing lectures, my fears soon dissipated and I did pretty okay. So I suppose, you can probably tell from the notes, I'm quite an intense person and I'm quite anxious. But what made that all the more easier was the amazing academics we have here in UCD, particularly in the English and Film department. I have cried in lecturers' offices. Dr. Delan was one of them. I have plagued them with emails to the point of probably being spam. I once inadvertently stole coffee from the SU shop because I was speaking to, slightly accosting a lecturer in the cafe. But despite all of that, no one ever yelled at me, or probably warranted on occasion hit me. They just were equally as enthused as I was, because as everyone's been waxing on tonight, if you love what you do, the people who teach you will be equally as in love with it as you are. So I suppose lastly, the thing I will say about UCD, and the most valuable thing about an arts degree, is it teaches you how to think in a completely different way to you are now. It teaches you to think in a way that is completely specific to you, and that is the most invaluable experience I think I took out of coming to UCD. I was told I should offer some advice, because there are parents, I'll keep it PG, but I have to say that, I mean, everyone said it, but just make sure you study something you love. I mean, for some of you that may be commerce, I can't understand it, but it may. But for me, it was English and film, and I have the pleasure to say that it still is to this day after 4 years of it. So please do make sure you love what you do, or your parents won't be very happy, because you will not attend lectures. And the very best of luck with your Leaving Cert.
Thank you very much, Anna. That's great. So I'd like to introduce Sarah Gordon. Sarah has a BA in German and Linguistics, and she's going to tell us a little bit about her career experience since she left UCD.
My name is Sarah Gordon, and I'm so happy to be back here. I had such a great time at UCD. I love it. I'm just delighted to be back here, so thank you for inviting me here. So what will I start with? So what did I study? I studied German and Linguistics. I always loved the subject German in school, so I decided to study it. Like everyone, you should study something that you really like. So it's a 4-year course, International German and Linguistics, and your first 2 years are here, and your third year is an Erasmus year, which was the best year of my entire life. I not only learned how to speak fluent German, but I also learned things that you can't learn here. I learned about kind of cultural things. I learned how the Germans work, you know, like things that you just need to know when you're there. So it was just invaluable. I also got a part-time job when I was there, which definitely helped with the German language skills. I also made like lifelong friends with people on the course. So I have friends now in Japan, in France, in America, just all over the world. So it was a fantastic experience. So then back to the course. I really enjoyed the course because I love German. I learned about kind of like the politics side of German, the German language, German linguistics, German history, just everything to do with German. And the fact that the course was only, I think there's only 15 people in my actual class, which meant that, you know, the tuition was just fantastic because you could ask the lecturers anything after class, and they were always so available to you know, for you, and you could go to them after class with any questions you had, and they were very available with their time and always, you know, were there for you, which was really nice to have, because it wasn't just a lecture of I'm the holy finger here right now, but you know, a lot of people and one teacher, so it was really great. Another part of UCD that I absolutely loved was the societies. So I was a member of the Dramsoc, the German, Dramsoc, musical soc, fashion soc, you name it, I just joined it because I love trying new things. And even if you're someone who has never like done drama before or done any of these things before, you're never a member of a society, this is your time to do it. Make sure that you join a society, because you can go through UCD, do all of your course, and then, you know, not know about these wonderful societies. Like, I made friends for life there, and you know, even you can see now from how emotional I'm getting with being back here. I just loved it. Like, it was so great. I did shows like the Phantom of the Opera in O'Reilly Hall, which Sabine went to go see. I hope you enjoyed it. I did Pygmalion in the Drama Society, and it was just so great. I really enjoyed my time. I also took part in the German Debating Society, and in my 4th year I got to adjudicate the first years in Trinity College in their colours debate. So there's just so many opportunities, and I'm telling you, if you can even think of something that you like, there is a society for it, I'm telling you. And if there isn't, make one, because you're able to do that. So what I'm doing right now, in terms of career, you know, when you study German, you don't have to just be a German teacher. There are so many different things you can do, especially with the amount of multinational companies in Dublin at the moment. They are seeking German speakers. And so once I finished in 2016, I went into full-time employment with Accenture in the German accounts payable department. I have no accounts payable department experience, but the fact that I spoke German was my in. They said, okay, she's got the language, we can teach her everything else. So on the job, I learned all about accounts payable, and that was great. So, and then a year on, I decided I wanted to do the Lidl graduate program because I heard so much about it. I was like, oh, German company, great, let's do it. I went to the graduate day. There was 2,500 people that had applied online for this course. In the HR stream anyway. 600 were invited to the assessment centre in the Aviva, and on that day, based on my CV that they had screened, seeing that I spoke German, what happened, I got asked did I want to do a job interview that evening to become executive PA to the HR director, and lo and behold, then I got the job. Woo! I'm in legal. So it just happened like that. I tell you, it's because of it's not just because, you know, I was a great PA or whatever. Like, I had the language, and that's the key. So if you're doing a language, it doesn't matter if it's Spanish or French, just keep doing it, because I'm telling you, the opportunities are there. They're constantly looking for people with German or any other language. And then I recently got a promotion to executive PA to managing director of Lidl Ireland and Northern Ireland, and I'm just having a ball. I literally love it. So I just some advice to you guys that are thinking of doing a language. Do it! Oh my god, it's just so great. And if you're not doing a language, get involved in societies because, like, oh dear, it's just the best experience ever, and you'll just make such good friends. And yeah, that's I think.
That was great, Sarah. Now I want to do language. I want to go back and do a degree. That's super. So next we have Evan O'Quigley. And Evan is a graduate from BA in History and Sociology. And Evan recently participated on one of our alumni career panel events for the School of History. So we're delighted to have him back on campus again.
Hi, thanks very much for having me. So yeah, as said, I am a graduate of Sociology and History from 2013, which I keep thinking that was 1 or 2 years ago. That's 5 years ago. That's terrifying. So I did a bachelor's degree in Sociology and History and then followed that up with a master's in History the year afterwards, graduating in 2014. So at the time, the jobs market quite hadn't picked up in the way it has now. Things were sort of still a little bit slow. And I had done a Bachelor in Sociology and History and then subsequently a Master's in History focusing on obscure Marxist intellectuals in East Central Europe, which is completely not what you need for going into the jobs market. But so I did my first job in January 2015 in Bank of Ireland, where I worked in kind of sales in the branch. So the line, "Hey, are you in the market for a mortgage by any chance?" still haunts me to this day. Didn't love the job, but it gave me great experience and it was a great first job to do coming out of arts. So subsequently I've gone into marketing, which is much more kind of using the skills that I got. So kind of one of the main things I suppose that I do in my job is I work on various different projects. So a lot of that is kind of creative, it can be writing, creating content, so creating video content, news items, social media posts, working on events, working on new brochures and designing them. I'm also, the firm's photographer and the firm's, all a bunch of random things, just because while people may have heard of the term creative accounting, I work in a firm of accountants. Accountants are not very creative. They can't write, they don't know how to do any of that stuff, so I'm kind of the go-to creative person there. So one of the things that was great about UCD doing an arts degree is it also gave me a lot of time to kind of do different things as well outside of the academic stuff. So I also was a sub-editor in the University Observer, and I did a show with Belfield FM as well, which was also just great experience for kind of going into the jobs market, especially for something like marketing. So the day-to-day of my job can be really varied. I come in every day, I don't know what I'm going to do, which I love, because while working a 9 to 5 is great stability, I don't like coming in 9 to 5 and knowing I'm going to be doing this exact process over and over again. So EisnerAmper Ireland is a small, mid-sized accounting firm in Ireland. We've about 115 staff now, so we're growing quite fast. We had about 70 when I joined a year and a half ago. So it was founded about 10 years ago, and it's gotten quite big, and it's gotten a lot bigger over the years. So one of the main things we specialise in is helping companies who are abroad internationalise and come into the Irish market. So it's quite an interesting group to market to. You could be marketing across, various different countries, running events kind of, remotely in New York or in Cayman and Sycamore, and hooking up with the marketing teams in our branches there. Or you could be doing, very local things, focusing on the kind of local market here with financial services and government companies. So kind of one of the main things about doing an arts degree in UCD is it really, it teaches you to kind of quickly be able to get a grasp on something that you've no idea about. For example, I work for a company that does audit. I have absolutely no idea how to audit a company, but I can write a good brochure about how to audit a company. And that kind of comes from doing history and sociology, whereas you might suddenly have to do a module on Middle Eastern history and you go, oh God, I know absolutely nothing about this. And then you have to write a 5,000-word essay, claiming to be an expert about this. So you kind of, it teaches you to do a lot of kind of research fast to get a good understanding on things, and that's really something that's very important, especially in the marketing and communications area. You kind of need to more or less understand what you're marketing, even though you're not an expert on it. Nobody expects you to be an expert, because if you were, you'd be doing that. You'd be an auditor. You wouldn't be a marketer. I hated school when I was in it. Never enjoyed it. I did. Only thing I enjoyed was history and English. So when I kind of left school, I wasn't totally sure what to do, and I thought, an arts degree would be a good thing to focus on, because I didn't have to commit to any kind of career path, because it gives you so many different opportunities, but you're not pigeonholed into one thing. which was great. And one friend of mine said to me, "Oh, you're doing history. Does that not just make you feel like you're in school again?" And I said, "No, it's completely different." So, and you're doing your leaving cert. If you're doing history, you're kind of just memorizing a lot of things. You're all about memorizing dates and events. It's totally different when you come to UCD and you do an arts and humanities degree. It's really about understanding things and about engaging in a conversation. And it's that kind of learning is just really, I can't describe how much that's changed my life and the way I kind of view things, and I really recommend it to anyone.
Great.